You guys are kind of all up in my business. Maybe you just raise it up. Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about invisible illness and how my illnesses being so invisible is totally a blessing and it's totally a curse. This is something that's weighing heavy on my heart recently because everything is starting to open up more, so we're starting to see people again after this pandemic. Obviously, it's nothing like the social activity that we had before, but now that we're starting to see people that we haven't seen in like a year or a year and a half, these feelings are starting to come back up again. This is actually a video that I planned in the first 2 months of having a channel, so over a year ago, within the first couple of months of the pandemic. But then it kind of became less relevant because everybody was in quarantine anyway. So I think this is a great time for this video to resurface since it's summer and everyone's starting to play with their friends again. I hope that this brings awareness about the invisible side of invisible illness and opens some eyes about disability and how there's actually a lot of emotional and mental stuff that goes into being physically disabled. Before we jump into this video, I have a very exciting partnership to share with you guys. You know, there is a certain jewelry company that is very close to my heart that I have gotten very attached to in the last few months. And not only is Ana Luisa sponsoring this video, but I am also an official brand ambassador for this incredible company. The number one thing that drove me to want to work with Ana Luisa was that all of their pieces are sustainable. Gold mining is ugly. Diamond mining is ugly, and although we're in an imperfect world and they can't completely offset every single thing that they do, they are doing so much to try. Great example, instead of mining gold, they give existing gold a beautiful new life. And their diamonds are lab grown, meaning that their entire history is traceable, peaceful, and earth-friendly. For some of their pieces they use brass, which is more eco-friendly, and then they extra thick plate it in gold to protect it. They're doing things like planting trees and fighting for less deforestation, among many other things to reduce their carbon footprint. Once I took a look at their stuff, I obviously immediately fell in love. The pieces they have are made in small batches, so they cycle through regularly. They're luxury designs and made very lightweight, and their high quality makes it so that every piece comes with a really great guarantee. Obviously, when their designs got updated, I had to update my collection too, so I've got to show you guys the new pieces I have now. Come on, camera, focus. I'm trying to be a YouTuber. I picked out this beautiful dainty ring. It's called Mecca Off-White, and get this. It's adjustable. I'm bruised from the slip and slide. That's funny. And in addition, you guys know I have not taken off my temple green layered necklace yet. I'm obsessed. But you guys did get to see this layered set last time. This is my most recent one. It's called Elise. This is the Cassie Huggy Hoop that you guys saw before, as well as, honestly, I forget what this one is called, but it's just a plain stud, and I love these three together. This is actually the other Cassie Huggy Hoop. I used to only put eyebrow earrings up in my roke, so I've been really loving having the option of putting something else up there. I love the way all the pieces mix and match, and I love how well priced they are. They do not do those luxury markups that other brands do. I highly recommend that you check out Ana Luisa, check out their mission and the company's story. And you don't need a code or anything to enjoy their 20% off site-wide sale going on right now for the summer. I'll stick a link at the top of the description box so you guys can check out the jewelry. I'm back! I know I didn't say bye, I had to leave in kind of a hurry, but honestly, I'm not even going to try to come up with an excuse right now because this is the whole point of this video. I had to pause filming for a little bit to go to therapy. It's been 7 months since the complications of the childbirth, and I'm still having PTSD every time I try to take a shower. You never know what someone's going through. By the way, I don't consider my PTSD to be an illness per se. It's definitely something that I'm working through, but it's not something that's going to disable me long term. But it is absolutely a disabling thing for some people, and I did make a video about the different types of service dogs, psych service dogs being one of them. My PTSD, to be frank, would be disabling if it wasn't so clearly triggered by just the shower that I have at home. And that's not that relevant for this video, but guys, you really don't know what a person's going through. And even people that seem really happy and really with it and really put together could be struggling immensely inside, mentally or physically. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get back into invisible illnesses. You guys know that I talk all the time about my physical limitations, but that for the most part, I do come off as completely normal. If you eliminate my giant service dog. I think it's a common sentiment among the disabled community that it's really hard to be looked at differently and treated differently because you have a disability. A lot of us are physically marked in some way to show that we have a disability, whether it be a service dog, a cane because you're blind, a wheelchair, a walker, feeding tube, you name it. Sometimes people see your equipment and they will treat you differently, either by babying you, like sometimes when I'm at the store I can't do anything on my own because I have a service dog, so I have help following me around a little bit too much, which kind of makes it awkward. Sometimes it's brushing you off when you do actually need help, like when you're asking for an accommodation, but you have to advocate for your rights forever, like for bringing a service dog into a store, for example. You know, the circles of dealing with illness can get tiring, and the circles of dealing with other people dealing with your illness also gets tiring. So for me and people like me who have invisible illnesses, it can be a very big upside to be able to turn off those invisible illnesses or turn off the public being able to tell that we have them. Obviously, I can't do it all the time. I can't do it when I'm having a bad day. Migraine Jen wouldn't be able to have a conversation when she's having a migraine. But Migraine Jen can inconspicuously go to a movie without a service dog and pass as a normal person who's maybe a little tired. On those rare good days, I absolutely blend in. I can absolutely opt not to bring a service dog or an aid of any kind, and I can blend in. It's a huge privilege to be able to be in the closet sometimes, so to speak. Not everybody has that luxury. So here are some times that I think it's really, really nice to be able to turn off people finding out that I have disability. The service dog handler thing, obviously. If there's a day when I'm like, I'm not down to advocate for having a service dog, then sometimes I can get away with not bringing Buddy. It does have to be a really good day. I do have to be absolutely not potsy or lightheaded that day, and most of the time I'll have a human with me as well. But man, to go shopping and not be followed for having a service dog, beautiful. And to be able to just go to the checkout and buy things without talking about why I'm disabled or why I have a service dog, amazing. I can also go to parties and have it not come up. Before the pandemic, one of my neighbors, who's a really good girlfriend of mine and does know about Buddy, has gone shopping with Buddy and I, knows that he's a service dog and everything. She invited me to a party at her house. When I went, I actually went without Buddy. And nobody that I was meeting that night had any idea that I had a disability. If you're not disabled, or if you don't have a thing that differentiates you unequivocally from everybody else, then this might not make a lot of sense. But it gets old being the disabled girl. It gets old being referred to as the one with the service dog. Kind of like when I had pink hair. If you have a party with a lot of people and someone's like, Jen, you know Jen, right? Jen, that one girl? The girl with the pink hair? That's the thing that makes you stand out from the other people? My disability is that. Jen, the one who fainted? Jen, the one with the service dog? Jen, the one who can't talk right now? Jen, the one who's allergic to everything? It's always the thing that comes up at parties. There's no hiding it. Except for that on a good day, I can hide it. And then I get that little taste of what it's like to have people get to know me before they judge me for my shortcomings. Being disabled is not a shortcoming like that, but you know what I mean. I also hid it from my bosses, my coworkers, until they got to know me. I didn't tell my bosses until I was hired. I didn't tell my coworkers until I was in. And it's sad that there is workplace discrimination, but that really does happen. I might not have been the choice for hiring if they had known that I had chronic migraines before I went in. This is back when I was chronic migraine but not daily. Since I was able to be functional with my migraines, I was able to establish that rapport first, and then I was able to open up to them about the symptoms that I was having and what accommodations would be helpful. And finally, last example, YouTube. If you go back to a lot of my earlier videos, many of them I was having symptoms at the time of filming, but I wasn't mentioning it. There are a lot of my videos where I come off as normally and you guys can't tell that I'm in post-drome, or where I'm great at the beginning of the video but by the end I'm drooping. There are videos where I had to do like 2 different filming days and I meshed them together and you kind of can't tell. But even for things like YouTube, I could totally just be a healthy passing person. And it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that. And I don't like that I'm thankful that I can do that. So that's the pros of the illnesses being invisible, but what are the downsides? The biggest and most obvious downside is that because I come off so normally, I am not taken seriously. With friends and family, they only see me when I'm doing really well. So if I tell them that I get these horrible, debilitating migraines, I'm bedridden, seizures, paralysis, all these buzzwords, it just doesn't get across because they only see me like this, or they only see me conversational. So people who know me in person, I think, have the false idea that things are not as serious as they actually are. This same thing causes issues in public, especially when it comes to having access for my service dog. Since I'm so normal, how could I possibly need a service dog? And I think that people who don't appear disabled do have a harder time with service dog access issues. My camera just stopped itself because the memory card was full. And I was like, that's weird. It shouldn't be full after only this long. And I found a video of Migraine Jen sitting on the fireplace. So I guess Migraine Jen made a video and filled up the memory card. I kind of remember it. I kind of remember that happening now that I saw it, but surprise, that'll be next week's video if the footage looks any good. So make sure you hit subscribe. Okay, so, truck. I think this filming's gotten interrupted about 6 times. Okay, we're gonna keep going though. I'm gonna start with friends and family. I am very open about my disability. I guess this goes with work too. When I tell people that I get complex migraines, they think it's more like really bad headache stuff, not like it's stroke stuff. Why is this truck? Oh. It's the garbage truck. I'm gonna wait. They interrupted like 20 minutes ago too, going that way, and now they're going this way. Okay, friends and family. I can actually get away with seeming really normal as Migraine Jen if I'm mild enough. And I think people don't realize that there are a lot of times that I look and seem healthy and bubbly when I'm actually like on the verge of blacking out and keeping a really close eye on Buddy. Or when I'm actually in prodrome or in aura phase even, leading into a migraine. I mean, I might not even be able to see my friends because of my aura in the way. They have no idea that I'm going through it. And I'm going to forget this entire conversation, and then they're going to think that I just wasn't listening the entire time. It's not that I'm not open with them about the fact that I have memory loss. It's that I am so deceptively normal for so much of the time that it just doesn't register. It just doesn't register that I could possibly forget as much as I do, or faint as much as I do, or get as confused as I do. I want to touch on fainting too, because I faint kind of a lot, but I don't faint in front of people very much. And the reason I don't faint in front of people is because I get a little freaked out around people, and it raises my blood pressure, and then that helps me faint less. I'm also only in social situations on days when I feel well. So if I tell people I faint a lot, but then they see me 10 times in a row and I don't faint on any of those times, they're like, what's with this girl, right? Not that they're gonna ask, but in their mind they might think that. And that's only because I don't look disabled. They don't see that before I had this social event, I probably needed to take a nap. I might have done my cephaly. I might have done my craniocradle. I probably did ginger and took a lot of flat time. Overhydrated with lots of salt. But since I don't faint in front of people, I'm faking it. And I think it's made even worse when I'm out with people and Buddy responds appropriately and we're able to stop a faint before it happens. Sometimes Buddy will lick me, I'll get really lightheaded, I'll sit down on the floor, he'll do his DPT, we do all the correct responses, and then it stops me from fainting. Watch this video about preparing to faint. This is the most popular video ever on my channel. These are the things that I do to prepare to faint, and sometimes completely stop the faint. But the problem is if I'm too good at stopping faints, then some people think I'm getting this fake alert from a service dog and then laying down just to make a show, and then Buddy happened to be there, and then I don't even know. I don't know what people think. I just know that the way that I'm treated doesn't point toward people understanding that if I don't do all these things in a hurry, then I'm gonna pass out. It's not that I feel faint or that I get lightheaded or I get dizzy. It's that I get crippling vertigo and I do faint. And it's weird, but that's what happens. When I was getting seizures, people seemed to understand it a little bit better, but once we started to feel like seizure was a bit of a misdiagnosis and it's more of like a convulsive syncope type of situation, now that it's fainting, people look at it funny again. The invisible illness of seizures, I think, is pretty well recognized. You're normal and then you suddenly get a seizure and then you're going to feel sick again after the seizure, but people kind of get that in a way that people don't really get fainting. And people definitely don't get migraine. Like, people don't understand migraine. Millions of people get migraine. 39 million, actually. Moving on. I want to touch really briefly on the public and the public's perception of me, and this once again pertains to the service dog. I mentioned during my gear haul video that the labeling on Buddy's vest was specifically chosen so that people would bother me less while I'm in public. Getting some stutters here. I specifically chose the words cardiac alert on the side of Buddy's cape so that random passersby wouldn't see me with the service dog and assume that I was meant to look disabled on the outside. Cardiac alert points to a heart condition, and I think that that helps the public realize that I might look normal even though I have something underlying. Prior to coming down with POTS, when Buddy was just a migraine alert and response dog, all his vest said was service dog, do not pet. And that didn't really work very well. There was actually a time when we were in Zion National Park that I was standing with Buddy and an older gentleman yelled, "Hey, come here!" He's like calling Buddy over. "Come here, puppy, come here!" And I turned around and I said, "Please don't distract him. He's my service dog. He's working." This guy yelled back at me, "You're too healthy to have a service dog." This is not the first time that I've been told I'm too healthy to have a service dog. No, I'm not. It's my right to have a service dog. Up yours, sir. I quickly snapped back, not all disabilities are visible, and his wife got all mad at him and drug him away. But yeah, as much as I say, oh, I'm so lucky and so privileged that I can just get away with looking like I don't have a disability, this is the other side of that coin. I'm getting harassed for not looking disabled, but using a disability aid. And I just don't understand why anybody would do that, because as I mentioned here in the Truth About Having a Service Dog video, it actually kind of sucks to bring a service dog with you places because you get treated differently. Whether you look disabled or don't look disabled, you get treated differently for having a disability that's visible in some way, or a disability aid that's visible in some way. Oh, and actually this happened on a bus at the Grand Canyon as well. I'll put a card for that here. We had some access issues on a bus at the Grand Canyon because the driver didn't want me and my husband together. Something tells me that if I looked more disabled, like let's say actively fainting, maybe he wouldn't have given us crap about the service dog. Maybe he wouldn't have tried to separate me and my husband and have me sit alone next to a stranger. It wasn't until I said, "What if I have a seizure?" that he ended up letting me and my husband sit together on the bus. And that was when I was diagnosed with seizures, but I shouldn't need to be pulling out buzzwords and disclosing my disability in order to be granted the access that I legally have rights to. I have a very well-trained dog and a very serious sudden onset disability, and it's really a shame that I need to convince people that I deserve to have him. So guys, I thank you very much once again for always listening to my rants. I do hope that this has shed some light on how coming off as normal can be really, really great, but it can also be quite devastating and hurtful and dangerous for my health, dangerous for my safety. I mean, that example at Zion, can you imagine if that guy called Buddy over and Buddy actually went and like dragged me off of the rock where we were standing? That was a really high distraction area. There were children and chipmunks everywhere that day. It was not the best behaved day that Buddy has ever had. Can you imagine if that guy called Buddy over and Buddy actually listened? Buddy might have actually pulled me over. I might look too healthy to have a service dog, but I've got vertigo. I'm using him as my balance. I'm standing on a rock. This could have ended really, really badly, but Buddy knows better. If you got nothing else from this video, please remember that compassion is key. And even the most happy people may have mental struggles. Even the most healthy looking people may have physical struggles. You have no idea what a person is going through. The only universal rule in life is that you should be kind to each other. That's it. Be kind, be understanding, and be understanding of the fact that you can't understand what that person's going through, even if they try to share it with you. And this doesn't just go for disability. I think this goes for a lot of things. This could go for your race, your gender or your gender identity. This could go for your sexuality, your religion, your views on certain topics, past emotional trauma. We're all living a crazy story, and we're all suffering from something. I heard a quote once that everyone's heaviest battle weighs the same. And I'm not sure if I totally subscribe to that, but I do really like the sentiment of it. That it doesn't matter if one person's life seems better or seems less bad than another person's life. That's not what it's about. The point is to just have compassion for everyone. And my hope with this video is that you can see how something that seems so minuscule, such a minuscule detail, my disabilities being invisible, doesn't seem like it would be that monumental of a thing. But it absolutely is, and it screws with my psyche, and it screws with the psyche of the other people who are also dealing with stuff like this. It's important that people are aware of things like this. Let's end on a happier note, you guys. A quick reminder that you should really head over to Ana Luisa's summer sale. The link will be right at the top of the description box below. I'm so excited to be an ambassador for them. I'm so excited to keep showing you guys the new pieces that I keep getting from them. Go enjoy that 20% off. You don't need a code or anything. Make sure you use my link and enjoy the discounts off of their already very low prices. If you do get pieces, feel free to tag me on Instagram and show me what you chose. And lastly, one little confession before I leave. I've been a little bit uncertain about what direction I want to go in with my videos. You guys know I have some that are about migraine, some that are about service dogs. There are a couple sprinkled in about being a mom. And then there were other random like story time videos. So today I would love to hear in the comments about what videos you guys look forward to the most on my channel so that I make sure that I keep going in a direction that you guys love. I just like making videos. I could talk about all sorts of things all the time. So your feedback is really what matters to me here. I want to make videos that you guys like, and trust me, I will enjoy it on this end. Oh, and there's also the differentiation between the purely educational migraine videos like the Aura series versus the Migraine Gen videos where I'm on here as Migraine Gen being weird. You know, there's like all sorts of different things I can do, and recently I've been having a lot more trouble being decisive on exactly what I want to do. So let me know. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.